So I did a thing. Hi. Hey everybody, so welcome back to our neck of the woods. So to all my subscribers out there, you guys will quickly catch on. To all of my friends and family, yes, you all know I'm legit insane. This is vehicle number, like, I don't even know, 30, 40, and I'm only in my 30s. I just can't keep something long enough. I'm always changing out, and I do always have a good reason. Two vehicles off the top of my head, for example, like I had a 09 WRX that I was driving around that was fun, had like 1,000,000 horsepower, and the 2011 came out. It had a body kit, the exact same car. I was able to take all of my performance parts, put it on a 2011, and actually my monthly payment went down. And if you guys know cars or Subarus, they don't lose value. I lost $2,000 on that car for 36,000 miles in 3 years of ownership. I got into a brand new 11 for basically next to nothing. Another car that comes to mind is, I used to be a motorcycle racer. I used to race for Wera. I used to do 600cc Super Sport. And I had a Dodge Ram and a trailer, and around 2008, 2009, the stock market crashed. Just to save on money, I ended up selling the trailer. I sold my truck, which was brand new at the time, after like a year or so of ownership, so it was a high payment. And I just went and bought a cargo van. It was a used cargo van for like 10 grand. The bike ramped up into the back. All my tools, tires, racing suit, everything went in the cargo van with me, and I used to go to the racetracks like that. That's actually when I met Aaron. So Aaron met some like creeper in a no windows cargo van, so that was kind of funny. But there's always a rhyme or reason why I do something. Again, my family just thinks that I'm insane, but I've been looking at bigger trucks for the last 2 months. I loved the ZR2. I think it's just absolutely an awesome truck. At the time, before the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon came out, it was the only truck out there that you could have rear lockers, front lockers, hill descent. The ZR2s come fully loaded, spray-in bed liner, remote start, heated seats, heated steering wheel. I mean, the thing is just an awesome, awesome truck. But let's face it, I don't live in Moab, Utah. I can't do off-roading stuff, and it just wasn't getting that type of use here in Ohio. So some things that were bad about it is, it didn't dawn on me when I first got it that a mid-sized truck, in between the wheel wells in the bed, it doesn't even hold a sheet of drywall. You have to leave the tailgate up because it sits on one of the wheel wells and it's tilted. And if you leave drywall up on the tailgate, obviously it's going to bend and bow and want to break. You can put OSB and plywood in the bed, but again, probably not more than like 10 sheets because all of that weight is then just sitting on the tailgate. So I needed to go back to a full-size truck. Some other negatives for it is that truck, the front of it reminds me of a Hummer. All of this wheel well area in here was completely cut out and removed for max approach angles when you're like doing rock crawling and doing off-road stuff. And because that's all open there, like for example on this truck, you can see it even has a lower chin spoiler. This is all for aerodynamics. That ZR2 had a little 3.6 liter V6, and I did have a little bit more of a lift than factory. Those trucks already come with a factory 2-inch lift. I put Jeep Wrangler tires on it, so they were like 1 inch or 2 bigger than factory. But that thing was getting me 14.5 miles per gallon. The truck that replaced was my 2017 Dodge Ram 1500 with a 5.7 Hemi, 35-inch tires, and a 2-inch lift in the front and a 1-inch lift in the rear. And it got 15.5 miles per gallon. So just to show you how big of a difference in aerodynamics makes, with way bigger of a truck, it actually got better gas mileage than that ZR2. So it was poor in that sense. And the other downside was, because the ZR2 has the lockers and all that extra weight added on, it actually dropped the max tow rating from the regular Colorado from 7,000 down to only 5,000 pounds. Now, when you add the weight of my trailer back there at a little over 2,000, that thing could only haul 3,000 pounds. That was a huge deal, going and getting lumber and other stuff. That water tote over there, if you guys remember in our hot water tank exploded video, I'll put the link in the description below, but using the well water exploded our hot water tank. So we have to go again, even though we have a well, we have to go and get water again. Yeah, I could go and get a full tank there, but I'd have to put it on the trailer, and then we can't really pump it into the insulated house over there. So I had to put it in the bed of my truck so gravity would go down. Well, I could only put 1,300 pounds of cargo in that truck. So couldn't even get a full load of water. It was a big pain in the butt. And again, going back to a full size is really gonna help us out with that. So if you add all that up, not a great towing, not a great hauling load, poor gas mileage, I just needed to go back to a full size. So this is the first time though, truck wise, that I've actually went with a 3/4 ton. The reason why I went 3/4 ton is because even when we go and get equipment to do stuff around the property, I always have to pay $50 for delivery. 1500s really don't come that great with towing ability. Like the Rams, for example, are only around 10,000 pounds. We were looking at getting a Chevy Silverado 1500, but after 8 weeks of waiting on getting an allocation to that dealership where they were allowed to order a double cab configuration, then waiting on the order for the double cab, which was another several weeks, I get a call from my cousin, who's my salesman. He says, Chevy refuses to make the truck. I wanted a Silverado 1500 RST model or trim package, the 6.2 liter V8 with the max towing, and that thing had a 13,300 pound tow rating. That's insane for a 1500. But again, after several weeks, Chevy refuses to make the truck. So I was back to basically looking at used 2500s. Now, the market right now in the United States is absolutely insane. Another reason why I jumped on this deal was because my truck actually went up several $1,000s in retail value. That makes no sense. It's unheard of. It's absolutely insane. 2 months ago, I went to CarMax and they gave me a quote of $31,000 for my truck. 2 weeks ago, Carvana gave me a quote of $33,000. And yesterday, before I traded this in, Carvana offered me $36,554 for a used truck. I only paid $39 for my cousin with basically invoice and rebates. So I've had that truck for over 2 years now. The lease was coming up. I was nowhere near my mileage, but holy crap, $36,500. I used that Carvana ammunition against the dealership and went and traded it in, and they matched it. So why wouldn't I? So not only did we sell the truck easily, they took it in on trade. I also put thousands of dollars in my pocket. So it's kind of like going back to the reason why I sold the Porsche. I sold the Porsche because a lot of money was able to be put back into the house because the retail value on that went sky high, because Porsche Cayman S's Generation 2s are just not available for sale anywhere. And selling that truck, I put some money down on this, but they're cutting me a check back for a few $1,000s. So that's money that's gonna go back into the house. So not only are my monthly payments almost identical, this truck will probably get the same or a little bit better gas mileage, but again, we actually made some money. So in my opinion, that's kind of a win-win-win. Now, furthermore, with this being a 3/4 ton, if you guys don't know this, on all vehicles, what you can safely haul around in a car, if you look at your door stickers right in here, you can see that the max payload is 1,434 kilos or 3,163 pounds. That is all of that tote water weight. That's me, Aaron, and an additional like 500 pounds of cargo. That's insane for this. So I can't wait to be driving this thing around and being able to actually haul and do good loads. So another win-win for this truck being a 3/4 ton is, let's face it, it just blows 1500s out of the water. It has a max tow rating of 14,200 pounds, which is more than enough for me to get my trailer, several pieces of equipment from the rental place that I no longer have to pay $50 for. We're still going to need an excavator. We're still going to need a skid steer out here. I'm going to need a scissor lift inside of the garage here. That's all stuff that I can go and get now. So that's $50 saved every single time that we needed to get a piece of a rental equipment. So the 2500 3/4 ton, I'm so happy that I finally have one. If you guys are Ram fans, no, I did not get the Cummins turbo diesel. That's a $10,000 engine basically thrown into these things, and I just couldn't swing that. And I don't need a turbo diesel every day driving around. I think the 6.4 Hemi is going to be plenty. I think the Hemi's been around for decades now. Yes, they've had their problems, and yeah, the turbo diesel is probably one of the best motors ever made. But again, daily driving, I think this is going to be fine. It can do what I need, and you don't have to worry about all that environmental stuff going on. You don't have to put in that extra DEF or DEF fluid when you fill up with diesel fuel. So I just prefer gas. I think it's a little bit easier to go for me. And the reason why I went with this truck is, again, I've been looking for the past 2 months. Obviously, manufacturers shut down because of COVID, so everyone's trying to catch up on orders and stuff. And this truck basically, there's not too many of them out there, especially because they're 3/4 ton. There's about 22 dealerships in my area, and every one of them has about 1 or 2 trucks. So no one wanted to sell them at discount. No, there's no rebates. The leasing on 3/4 tons is not great, and it just took forever to look around. I was looking at used ones, and we just couldn't find what we wanted. I do have a buddy back up where I used to live who works at a dealership. He didn't have really much room to work with either, and they had some trucks that they just got in. Some are actually, I think one of them was actually still on the way, and it was already sold. So I just happened to come across one more dealership, found this guy, and I saw that it's been on the lot for 24 days. Why they put that on the website, I'm not exactly sure, but they were the only dealership in Ohio that had a 2500. They were selling it at invoice and then another $3,000 off. So not only would no one be able to really move and work with me, but this truck had over $6,000 off. Again, this payment is darn near what I was paying for my midsize. And again, we put money in our pocket, and I basically just had the jump on it. In a perfect world, this isn't the way I would have outfitted this truck. Usually I order trucks from the manufacturer and I have it built the way I want, but this came well enough equipped for a daily driver and going and getting stuff. I think it's fine. It is only the tradesman model, but it's a tradesman outfitted with about $6,000 worth of stuff that it basically looks like the upgraded Bighorn. And in fact, we went and test drove a 2019 Bighorn that didn't have a lot of options on it. And this tradesman has more good features than what that truck had. One in particular was like the push button start. That 2019 still had a key turn, and this tradesman has a push button start. So it's just little things like that that I think actually it's outfitted quite well. So some features on the truck. It's got the spray-in factory bed liner, and frankly, I don't think you should own a truck without a spray-in bed liner. They're just absolutely bulletproof. In fact, I think they're even bomb-proof. If you look at YouTube videos, they'll show them spraying like cinder block walls with like Line-X or Rhino liner, and then like igniting a grenade or dynamite next to the wall, and the wall will stand up. The stuff's literally bomb-proof. So throwing tools and stuff in there and hauling stone and everything like that. If you don't have it, and you got a truck, I definitely would go look at like Rhino-Line or a Line-X and pay a couple $100 and have them put that coating on your bed for you. The truck also has the chrome package, so if you look at the Tradesmen, they come very, very, very ugly. They've got like a black, almost plastic looking front bumper. The wheels look terrible. They're like just a matte finish steel wheel. So it's got the chrome package, it's got the spray and bed liner, it's got tow packaging, and it's outfitted with a snow group package, which I'll never use. I'm not going to plow snow, but that is what the upper lights are for. All the wiring stuff's down there already to basically bolt on a snow plow. It's an upgraded alternator, skid plate, and a limited slip differential in the rear. So like I said, well outfitted, and I really like it so far. So a few other cool features. It did come with rubber floor mats, which I always get, and I really like this feature. It came with auxiliary switches 1 through 6, and if you looked on my ZR2, I always did have outfitted lights. I had a light bar up top, some ditch lights, and some fog lights, and that's really a pain in the butt to put lights on a car because you gotta get to the battery, get to a ground, get the wire through the firewall. You're usually putting a little slit like in a rubber grommet to push your wires through, then getting behind the dash. It's all just a big pain in the butt. The way this car works is there's some plugs inside of the engine bay that they basically just have rubber grommets pushed in to block them off. Well, you remove that rubber grommet, put in the pin connector, and then it's got a little pigtail wire off of it, and you basically just hook your power wire right up to it, ground your wire to a bolt, and boom, your accessory's done. And then they're labeled up in the engine bay 1 through 6, so you've basically got everything pre-wired and installed, and it's just super easy to put add-ons on the truck. So I think that's a really cool feature. Now, some interesting things about the Tradesman versus the Bighorn. In my opinion, Dodge makes the best interiors. I think most magazines agree with me also. Dodge tries to go above and beyond having their interiors better than anyone else. And I mean, if you look back to like the 2018 or 2019, when they put that 12-inch like iPad touch display, I mean, that was a first besides Tesla, and that was just completely awesome. But the thing that the Tradesman's lacking a little bit is this door, for example, doesn't have the soft plush like leather padded that the Bighorn and stuff has. This is all more plastic, but I don't mind it because if you guys saw the inside of my ZR2, it was so muddy from my boots and my hands always touching stuff out here on the property and then getting in there and doing stuff. To have more of a hard plastic door like that, it's going to be super easy to clean and maintain, and I think it's a little bit nicer for me for what I need. Other interesting things is a few years ago, all trucks started what I call mimicking a Hummer. They started putting in massive center consoles in here, and what I don't like about that is it kind of ruins the nostalgia, kind of almost romantic part of a truck. This truck still has like bench seating, what they call 40-20-40. And I don't know, I just like that. It's just kind of like an old school truck. Aaron can come over here and sit by me for going on a trip or something, and I don't know, it just kind of declutters the inside of the cab not to have that massive console there. And it's cool. I don't mind it. All my other trucks had them, but I think it's just cool to have a truck for probably the first time in 10 or 15 years going back to the old school kind of bench seating. But again, the truck is properly outfitted. There's radio controls and everything on the steering wheel. It does not have the electronic transfer case for four-wheel drive and stuff. It does have the actual manual one, but I kind of like that because it's a real positive engagement when you pull it down in the four-wheel drive, so I think that's kind of cool. And overall, they're just comfortable. It was not a hard sell at all for Erin. Erin actually loves Dodge Ram trucks. Again, the inside is her like biggest favorite thing about trucks. And even if we went and test drove the Silverado 1500, it doesn't have what Dodge has. I know everyone's out there a specific fan for every make and model of truck, but I don't know. Dodge just always has the most comfortable seats, and from what I think is just the most nicely outfitted interiors. So that's pretty much it. That's my new truck. The only things that I'm probably gonna end up doing to it, because let's face it, I'm a car guy, I can't not do stuff to it. It did not come with the factory tow hooks down here. So for about $40, we've got to pop out this plastic grill here. And right in this area in here, there's a little slit that's cut out, and then the tow hook slides in there and bolts to the frame. So we got to spend about $40 on that, and the tow hooks are about $90. So we're going to go ahead and slap those on. I'm probably going to do aftermarket or maybe factory fog lights. So this will get cut out and replaced with a new insert to accept that. And then we went ahead and we also ordered the rear wheelhouse liners. I have no clue why trucks in this day and age still do this, but without wheelhouse liners, you kick up rocks all over this, you're gonna chip the bottom of your bed and you're basically gonna rust it from inside out. So we're gonna go ahead and get the protectors that go all up in here to do that. And then maybe one day, because this truck is so lifted already, unlike the 1500s, when these tires wear out, or maybe even sooner than that, we may put some 35s on it, because I think 35s just look awesome. And don't quote me, I'm not 100% sure, but this truck may be able to put 35s on it with no lift at all, because not only is there a ton of room in between here, but I think you've got more than enough room in here without lifting that you could put a 35 and not off-road, but it would drive probably fine on the road without doing any modifications to it. And just to drive that point home a little further, when I was at the dealership yesterday, I stood next to a 1500. The hood on the 1500 came up to my belly button right here. This comes all the way past my chest. So a 1500 is literally, the hood is only about right there underneath of that A, and this 2500 sits up that high. So that gives you an idea of how much taller and bigger these 3/4 tons are over their 1500 little brothers. I hope that's a good explanation for why we did stuff. But real quick, house update. It's Sunday. I think I just posted that other video yesterday, so nothing's really been done, but I did have a mini heart attack last night. It rained really bad when we were up near where I used to live, and I came home to check on the sump pump, and I found water in the basement. Holy crap, it scared the crap out of me. I walked over here, and there's a massive puddle of water right here, but I'm like, there's no way water is coming down from the ceiling. It's like midnight, so it's pitch black down in here, and I'm like freaking out. Why is there water all over the floor? And then I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. I just made a water slide. Water was hitting all of these boards and running straight down into the basement, and the water was pooling down in here. So, duh, my mistake. Kind of freaked out a little bit, but no big deal there. We also had some water over here in the corner, which actually you can still see there's some water right there. This water is coming from this pipe right here that I put a bag over to try and stop that. Basically what's going on is outside of the wall there, we've got it exposed so we can bring in the water line and the electric from the well to the house. And basically what happened is a mudslide. So around that inlet, I'll show you here real quick. I dug it out last night, so you probably can't really see it, but you can get the idea. We had a mudslide down in here, and all of the mud caked the inlet pipe right there, and then water wasn't able to get down through that mud, so the water ended up going through the pipe and going in there. So I dug that out to get back down to the stone, but when we get the well in here and the power for the well over there in here, I'll dig out all of this top layer of mud right here. We'll go ahead and use the pile of stone that we still have sitting over there. We'll put stone back over that. We'll put our filter fabric so the silt and stuff doesn't go down there and clog our stone. And then we'll go ahead and we'll grate it, and we will do it right so that water's not getting overloaded on that French drain again. And if I haven't mentioned that before, that is what's going on. The French drain right now is still getting overworked. A lot of parts of the house don't have this grading right now going on right through here. It's very flat, like on the other side of the hole right there. So all of the water that sits right there is going down through the clay, going down through the stone, and going right to the French drain. So once we get this all graded, we're really gonna save that French drain and our sump pump from being overworked. And then another problem is actually right here. So right here, from the edge of this concrete out to about here, there is probably 5 or 6 feet of just stone right here. So any water that rains on this stone right now shoots straight down 5 or 6 feet and literally hits the French drain. So this is basically overworking the French drain on this side, that there's too much water going down in there. Even though we have a huge taper coming out of the garage, the water's not hitting anything and can run down it. So eventually when we put our concrete slab in here, the only way water is going to get down to the French drain on this side of the house is the expansion joint that we put in between our apron here and where the concrete slab starts here. And that's not going to be a lot of water at all. The water is going to hit that solid piece of concrete and then drain down the driveway and go off to the back side of the camper. So right now it's a little bit more, you really got to watch everything. You got to go down there, check on the sump pump, make sure the power's on, make sure the sump pump is getting worked, because if you are hitting heavy rains and any one of those fails, the way that the property is currently set up is that all of that water is pretty much just going straight down to the French drain, and the basement will flood really fast. So just need to be a little bit more cautious is all. And in the future, we'll try to figure something out. I was trying to think maybe we'll upgrade our security system to SimpliSafe. They have cameras, glass break sensors, water sensors. So if we're ever away, what we may end up doing is putting one of those water sensors like on the lid of the sump pump. That way, if the power shuts off and we don't have a generator or anything, or we hook up a generator where I have to be here manually to remote start it or pull the power cord, I can get a notification on my phone knowing that, oh crap, the water has now risen up through the sump pump. The sensor's now going off. Someone needs to come over here if we have a house sitter or something, or we need to get back home immediately and get the power restored, or get the secondary emergency sump pump down in there before anything bad happens to the basement. Till then, let me know what you guys think in the comment about the new truck. Let me know if you guys actually own SimpliSafe and if they've got a good water sensor and security system. Right now we're using Arlo and we're really not a fan. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but let me know what you guys think of everything. So until then, like, subscribe, comment down below, turn the bell on so you can get notified of future and upcoming videos, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.